First of all, it's marvelous to have you back for a second time, except this time it's in person.
Yeah. And thank you for having us back.
It's a pleasure. And I was saying earlier, I think it's remarkable that we manifested this literally within 1 to 2 weeks of doing a radio show together. And suddenly here you are from Canada and the United States, and we are all together in a radio studio. I think it's meant to be.
Yes, it is.
Yep. How is your U.S. tour, as early as it is, going so far?
Good, good. It's nice to meet a whole bunch of new people. It's great to experience, of course, Southern California. Mm-hmm. That's always nice compared to Ontario, where we came from.
Cold Ontario.
Very cold weather up there. And, of course, it's always nice to meet people just like yourself, Deborah.
Thank you so much. Maggie, you are a talented artist, I understand.
Yes.
And how would you typify what you paint?
I like to paint something that evokes emotion from the viewer, where someone looks at it and actually experiences feelings, fear, happiness, joy, sorrow, anything like that. And that's my joy, is putting that out and actually having that kind of response.
Mm-hmm. Your passion.
Yes.
And your gift to the world.
Yes, exactly.
And you have been married to Renee for 13 years?
Yes.
Okay. And Renee, I understand that you actually channeled as a child, but maybe didn't quite understand what it was that you were doing.
Oh, I knew what I was doing.
Ah.
The problem was the people around me didn't know what I was doing. I was 3 years old. My parents took me to see a psychiatrist because they thought I was a little nuts. Mm-hmm. Little did they know how nuts I was. But anyhow.
It helps.
Yeah. But the psychiatrist basically said to my parents not to encourage it. And in fact, they actively discouraged it. So to the point where I learned very early on how to shut down, shut up, and not say anything. And I disconnected from that part of myself in order to live life the way people are supposed to live. You know, you grow up, you get married, you have kids, the White House, the house with the white picket fence, that kind of thing, you know. And but it got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore, and I had to leave that whole environment. And it wasn't until I left the environment that I met somebody else who was a channeler. And as soon as I saw what he was doing, I said, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I reawakened right then and there to what I knew what my journey, my pathway was. We've got clients all over, from Europe to North America to South America to Australia, Japan, India, Russia. I guess the only place we don't know if we have clients is actually China. They don't let anybody call from there.
Ah, well, you can email or write to them, so
there
let
you
them
go.
know. Because I know that there's a lot of people from China who listen to my show, so now, if they haven't yet, they will be connected with the Wonders.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. It is all perfect.
Yes. Well, it's the idea. The Wonders are they want to talk to the world. They want to help the world, and they want to have conversations with everybody in the world. So this is our way of doing it.
Well, thank you for being willing to be the channel for all of that.
You're welcome.
And with that, I would like to invite the Wonders to join us on the Dare to Dream radio show.
You notice how they always just talk to me for 2 seconds, and then they want to get the Wonders. Do you ever feel like, you just...
Do I need to apologize?
No, not at all.
No,
not
it's just normal. It's just the way it is.
Yes.
Okay, Renee, get out of here.
Yeah. Bring in the Wonders.
Okay, you ready, my love?
Just a second. I'll set my love. Please envelop this entity so completely in love that all needs, wants, and desires are chosen.
And greetings.
Greetings, Wonders.
Greetings, Maggie.
Would you please go to whom, to where, and to when you are directed? Would you please locate your facilitator, Maggie Gadet, on October 10th, 2010?
Yes, we have you.
We are gathered here at the KYHY radio station, 2600 West Olive Avenue, Burbank, California, to do a general session for the Dare to Dream radio show with Deborah Dashinger. Would you please begin?
Where would you like us to begin?
Greetings, Wonders. This is Deborah.
Greetings, Deborah.
It's wonderful to have you back on the show again so soon.
Good for you.
This time in person, if you can say that to a group of entities.
Yeah, sort of.
Through your person.
Yes, through this one's body, anyways.
First question, Wonders. Do human beings come into their life with a mission for being here, or is life generic and here only for us to have fun and love?
Actually, you're here to experience the experience of existence. That's really what it is. Now, once you incarnate, you create a mind, And from the mind, the ego personality is created. And from there, experience is chosen. So though you're here to experience the experience of existence, oftentimes it becomes judged, of course, immediately. And from that judgment then, you start using your own perspectives of right and wrong, good and bad. You make choices that lead you in a certain direction, don't lead you in another, move you this way, move you that way. And the next thing you know, you have a life. Now, that doesn't mean that that is truly the experience of existence that you came to experience. It just means that that's what you created for yourself. To experience the experience of existence is to give yourself the absolute freedom of choice, to choose that which is the opportunity before you. Most individuals never get to that point.
To choose the opportunity that is before you. Can you explain that a little more?
Well, think of it this way. As an ego personality, you have free will and free choice.
Right.
So you can decide whether you want to go left or you can want to go right. It's your choice. Of course, in order to go left, you have to judge because you're an ego personality. In order to go right, you're going to have to judge because you're an ego personality. So either way, there's judgment, and that judgment limits your choice, doesn't it? So now you find yourself with judgment, limiting your choice, and then, of course, the next choice, and more judgment, more judgment, more judgment. The next thing you know, you're not choosing, you're just judging. But if you but realize that you are truly choice, that's what you are, nothing more, then you would give yourself the opportunity to simply choose based on that which is presented to you at that moment. In this particular moment, for example, in this particular conversation right now, you have the opportunity to interact with us freely.
Right.
And yet still, there is preparation, judgment, definition, and that is forming this interaction. Now imagine what this interaction could be like if you had no judgment, no preparation, no formulation, no definition, and even go beyond this term, but use this term as a way for you to understand, go beyond winging it. What would happen?
That's a good question. I would have to be incredibly present.
Yes.
And I would have to be, that's all I can think, is just so in the moment so I can feel what I'm feeling and understand anything I'm curious about, which will change moment to moment.
But you see, the feelings that you're feeling is just your mind telling you these feelings. It's a judgment. The curiosity that you have is your mind's curiosity. Yes, be present in the moment. Just imagine what questions would come from you choosing freely from all that you are, not just your mind and your ego personality, but from the you that is you, choosing right now to ask a question. Would it be a question as you have, or would it be a question so profound that it would change the universe?
I don't know.
Yes.
But it has the potential.
Exactly. And that's the fun of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's what free choice is. And that's what choosing the opportunity in front of you. If you are truly an individual that chooses to be in this moment, then, dear friend, in this moment is all that there is. Do you think?
I do.
And by the way, this presentation that we give you right now, these words, this form, this is but one aspect of all that we are, a very small aspect. We ourselves right now have surrounded you, have surrounded this planet, have surrounded this universe. We are the in, the out, and the out, and the end. It's sort of like the innie and the outie. And in effect, we are all that you are. And yet all that you are can be perceived by yourselves as separate from ourselves.
Does that mean that although I and others exist on the third dimension, that in actuality, outside of this human body, I am as grand and as much and as in and out as you are?
You are, but you would have to go through layers of separation that keep you from knowing that you are us. Do you think?
Why do we... I get it, but I also don't get, why do we play this game? Why?
Because it's suitable to your judgment of who you perceive yourself to be. You perceive yourself, see it from this perspective. You are a drop in an ocean. And yet all you can see is that you are a drop.
I get it. Yeah.
And then from there, you see yourself as perhaps, if you expand your consciousness, now you see yourself as a drop in a small part of the ocean. A very small part, an inlet. Mm-hmm. And you say to yourself, wow, I'm so expanded. I'm so broad. I'm so aware. I'm so into everything. You see?
Yeah.
And yet the inlet is still the ocean. Do you see?
So in other words, yes, I get it. So most of my time I'm just really aware of myself, frankly. And then other times when I'm doing something else that is more expansive, I can take in much more of humanity and recognize we really are all one. We really are of the same energy and yet mirrors of each other. And that's like a little inlet. If I were to truly, wow, what would that be like?
Then you would be us.
That would be divine.
Well, your ego thinks so.
That darn ego.
It's already judged these words. It's already created a definition.
Yes.
Do you see?
Yes.
It's already come up with a concept and a construct that it's working towards. The word divine itself, spoken from you, basically defined a concept and a construct that your mind has already judged.
So it's almost unimaginable.
Yes, it's literally, it's the unknown.
The unknown.
And there's a number of series that we've completed on exploring the unknown. Have fun with those.
So do I take it to understand that we come here and we create all that we are, or what we feel is our identification, and that we are not here for a specific reason to accomplish something or to be something specific?
No, you're not here for anything. You're here to experience the experience of existence.
Mamma mia.
That's all that you're here for. Now, your ego personality, your mind, has created the direction, and the direction then is based on judgment. You see?
Well, I took it as though when a person gets what I perceive to be certain talents and gifts, proclivity in a certain direction, interest and passions in a certain direction, and maybe because of their history, it points them in a particular direction that it gives them joy to express that. I love when I do this to the wonders. Why do I do this to the wonders sometimes?
Because, dear friend,
yes,
you're into your mind, giving us a mind concept that is nothing more than a judgment upon judgment upon judgment of all the limitations that you're imposing on yourself. Look at yourself, dear Deborah. You are truly a brilliant, brilliant essence. You're multi-talented. And by that we mean limitlessly talented. If you listen to our defining statements, the third defining statement states, I am limitless.
right.
My choices reflect my limitlessness. So all the choices you've made are designed to take a limitless perspective of yourself and bring it down to the limited perspective that you call Deborah Dashinger, and that you yourself are saying to yourself, this is my talent and ability. Now, as interesting as your talents and abilities are as this personality you present yourself, they are not truly multifaceted the way you yourself are. So you could say to yourself, I have a passion, I have a desire, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm doing a radio show, I want to change the world. Wonderful, great, absolutely fantastic. But that's only one small, minute part of everything that you can do if you chose to.
Wow.
You see?
That just blows my mind. It really does.
But your mind, good. It's about time you blow your mind. Because your mind is the one that's holding you back. Your mind is the part of you that's sitting there saying, you can't do this or you'll never survive. Don't try this, you can't survive. Don't try that, you'll never make it. You're not good enough. Your mind is the one that's created the judgments that hold you down. You think?
Amen.
Now, recently, we had a conversation with you about something a little different. something more unique to yourself. Something to do with blue and singing.
Yes.
May we?
Yes, you may.
So here you are saying to yourself, I'm a radio personality. I'm changing the world with my radio. Yes, I've done this experience. I've done that experience. I have a great deal of talent in the performing arts. And yet, how much of all of that talent do you exercise? Well, you say to yourself, I can't exercise it all the time because I don't know, I don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. I'm committed to this. I'm committed to that. I don't have enough help. I can't do it myself. But in actual fact, what's to stop you from singing the blues anytime you choose?
Nothing at all.
Except your mind.
Right.
And your mind is telling you that you're just not good enough. You don't have enough time. You don't have the energy. You don't have the vitality. You are getting old, you know. The voice box is changing. This is your mind having a conversation with you. Do you see the point?
Yes.
And our answer to your mind would be, don't you know that the voice box is like a fine wine? The older it gets, the more mellow it becomes. Do you see the point?
Yes. And just for edification and real vulnerability with the listeners, he basically just channeled a lot of my thoughts that no one gets to hear but me. So that's entirely accurate.
Yeah, of course it is. We know you. We know you intimately, dear friend. There isn't a thing about you that we don't know.
I'm so glad you're here.
Well, dear friend, good for you. The key for yourself is to realize that now, what would you want to do with this brilliant, brilliant person that you are? What do you want to do with her? Do you want to hold her down into a personality called Deborah Dashinger? Or do you want to use the personality as a minute expression of all that you are?
Well, I honestly would love to move into that space of all that I am. I know that's what my heart or soul longs for.
Yes.
And I do recognize, even in feeling towards that, the fear that comes up for me.
Of course it does. And this is where your mind is saying to you, are you nuts? Are you crazy? You want to go do what? You want to go out there and put yourself in front of a crowd again? Are you nuts? Remember what happened the last time? Think about what's going to happen in the future? This is much safer. This is much better. You're behind a microphone. Nobody can see you. You're in an audience. You see? You're under control. What happens when you're out of control? That's your mind. And that's the mind of every listener that's listening. Every listener listening to your radio show is literally having the same dance with their mind on a daily basis. You see?
I do.
So our suggestion to you is you can go ahead and live your life that way. It's a wonderful way to live, isn't it? After all, it creates a little fear, or perhaps creates a lot of fear, and you end up living your life surviving fear. And you say to yourself, look at me, I have survived fear. I am fantastic. I am amazing. I am great. Do you see? And you say to yourself, wow, hey, I'm 95 years old, I'm dying tomorrow, but I survived. I had a good life. Wasn't that good? And we would say to you, yes, that's great. That's wonderful. But you've spent 95 years battling fear and living in spite of it. Did that feel good? We would suggest you can say to yourself, you can justify yourself it felt good, but did it really? Our suggestion to you is, why don't you try living a life without fear? Why don't you try just living without any limitations? Why don't you try literally living a life that expresses your brilliance? Now, some people would argue with us, yes, but if I do that, that means I can go out and kill people, I can do anything I want, and how is that going to be with society? What if I harm somebody? And we would say to them, listen to the 6 defining statements that we've given. They define everything in existence. They define you. They define your personality, they define you, they define your soul, they define your mind, they define us. And the 6 statements are very simple. Existence is but an extension of yourself. Now think of that for a moment. Everything that you see around you is an extension of you. Everything that you create is an extension of you. Everything you interact with is an extension of you. Our being here was an extension of you. Second statement, I am sufficient. It doesn't say I'm lacking. It doesn't say I'm missing something. It says I'm sufficient. And it doesn't say just because I don't get my $1.99 allowance at the end of the week, I'm not good enough. Does it?
No.
It says I am sufficient. The third, as we've said, I am limitless. My choices reflect my limitlessness. It quite simply says, hey, you are truly an essence without limits. Why do you choose to limit those limits? You see?
Yes.
The fourth, and this is the part that we love. This is where people argue with us and say, well, I can go out and kill and so on. We would say to them, listen to the fourth statement. That which you are is that which I am. And that which I am is that which you are. Would you really choose to harm yourself? Do you think? And the fifth is a really interesting one. That which you choose, you do so out of joy. Now, people will say, there's no joy in choosing to be sick. There's no joy in choosing to be poor. There's no joy in choosing to be harmed or hurt or raped or killed or whatever. And we would say to you, of course there is. Because really, the joy came not from your ego personality in your mind. The joy came from your soul essence at the opportunity of being able to experience this experience of existence. That's your joy. Now, do you want to marry your mind with your soul? Then you'll know what real joy is. And the sixth and final statement, all that I am is love. All that you are is love. It doesn't say anything else but that you are love. Why would you then, in any way, shape, or form, attempt to reduce that?
Thank you, Wonders. We're going to take a very quick break. Please stay with us. We'll literally be back in 30 seconds.
Greetings, Deborah.
Greetings. Last time you were on the show, we had a conversation about infertility treatments and the fact that we haven't been doing it long enough really on this planet to understand all the possible consequences that could be happening to bodies.
Yes.
And you gave us an insight into what's happening to the cell of the created child or children, which was fascinating. I would like to take that a step further and ask you, for women who undergo this extreme treatment with the hormonal shots and the months or years of infertility treatments, is there any damage or consequence to the female body down the road?
Yes. The consequence is quite substantial. It is a consequence that will eventually, literally kill the body. Your body was designed to go 10,444 years, by the way, just to let you know. Most people manage to get 75 to 80 years. Not a very good track record.
No, it's not.
You take fertility treatments and you add them to the body.
Yeah.
And from a purely scientific perspective, very, very little from the point of view of physical harm to the body. There is some. There are certain chemicals, et cetera, that do harm the body. From an emotional perspective, and this is the key here, from an emotional perspective, there is such harm that is created to the body, harm first and foremost that precipitated the necessity of having fertility treatments, and secondly, the harm afterwards. That the resultant is individuals find themselves oftentimes creating diseases within their body as they age, diseases that are not necessary to be created. Most of them involving reproductive organs, feminine sexuality organs. Do you see? And so the resultant is they find themselves wondering why they've encountered these particular harms in their body later on, and they don't recognize that it had to do with a disconnect between their emotional self and the total physical and mental self. Do you see?
Yes. Are there flushes that people can do to get their bodies back on track?
A flush. You want to flush the emotional self. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. If you really want to flush yourself emotionally, have a session with us. We guarantee you we'll flush you.
Right on. Okay.
Now, beyond that, if you really want, start connecting to, truthfully, to your inner self, to that which you fear the most. And some would say, go to your dark side. But in actual fact, the dark side is not really dark. It's just that which is feared the most. And if you look at yourself and start exploring yourself emotionally, you will recognize that every individual on the planet, virtually, not all, but virtually all, have at least 3 to 7 dark areas of their life that they try to avoid. Some have more, some have a little bit less. Most are about that, in that range. You see? How's that for an average?
Works for me. And when I've heard that word before, dark side. When you say that, do you mean like the shadow side, the side that we're not terribly comfortable with?
Yes, that's what individuals such as yourself call it. The dark side, where the force doesn't reside. Nothing to do with Star Trek, of course, or Star Wars. Basically, yes, it's the part of you that you yourself are unwilling to recognize, to connect to love, really. It's that part of you that you don't love. Now, take a look at yourself, dear Deborah, if we may use you as an example.
Okay.
And if you're, oh, there she goes.
What darkness are we going to pull up?
Which part of you do you not love?
Well, so apropos to my opening and to everything you said, I do not love the fearful piece of me.
How will you ever get past the fear if you cannot love that which you are yourself fear? You are everything. You're separating that fearful part of you and keeping it over there. Hey, go on, over there. I don't want to talk to you. You go over there. Hide from me. And it's a battle, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it keeps wanting to come back and say, hey, look at me, look at me. That fearful part is nothing more than the little girl inside of you that says, I just need to be hugged. I need to be loved. That's all it is. There's a little girl inside of you that you're disconnecting with, that you're pushing away, and she just wants to be truly just loved. Now, why can't you do that? Imagine what would happen if you loved that part. Would the fear be so intense? Would it be so in your face all the time? Or would it just say, maybe you should watch this?
I so understand what you're saying.
I really do. In fact, that's
Sometimes how I've gotten myself, if there's something I really want to do, but I've convinced myself I can't for many reasons, I literally talk to myself like I'm a little child and say, if you'll just do this once, if you don't like it, you don't ever have to do it again.
Yeah.
But if you like it, we'll keep coming back. I mean, I really have to baby myself in a way.
Yes. But you see, as you grew older, your mind has chosen to separate these parts of you into different functions inside of you. Psychologists will talk all about this, by the way. But even beyond that, there's an inner core self, an inner part of you that is just that small, vulnerable part of you that wants to express itself. And that vulnerable part cannot, as long as you yourself are unwilling to acknowledge that it exists.
Wow. I hope a lot of people are resonating with this because that's powerful.
Yes. And if you really want to explore your vulnerability, we did a number of series, a lot of them, on vulnerability, beginning, intermediate, and advanced, all designed to help the listener get into that part of them that they so fear. And that is the brilliant part of them. You fear more than anything else your brilliance. And since this is the year of the brilliance, what better way to bring this matter up?
Yes. And for the listeners, too, I would like to say there is tons to listen to from the Wonders. So please, I have spent almost every day since I first met them on the computer listening, podcasts, and all sorts of workshops.
And what you've done is like the drop in the ocean, isn't it? It's only a small portion. And by the way, we intend on keeping speaking now for another 200 to 300 years, depending on how long we can keep this one's body going.
Yes. So I guess everyone in this room needs to live a little longer than we had anticipated so we can be here with you.
Well, 85 years is just not going to do it, is it?
Right. We got to set a higher bar.
Of course. Now, imagine if you set the higher bar.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible? Of course it is. Is it probable? Absolutely. In order to do so, you would have to shift a lot of your lifestyle, wouldn't you?
Yes.
The first thing you'd have to shift is your vulnerability. You see?
Yes.
If you really want to live long and prosper, so to speak, as Spock would say, you must literally shift your fear of yourself. Vitamins aren't going to do it.
Right. Capiche.
Good food are not going to do it. It'll help, but it won't keep you there. You want to live long? We're giving you the secret, by the way, to long life. If you want to live long, shift your vulnerability and be open and vulnerable completely. Does it?
Yes. That's fascinating. Well, speaking of vulnerability, I've heard you, I think in your radio show or your tapes, you've talked about sexual intimacy, that most people don't really achieve intimacy
Yes.
during the sex act. And what can we do to experience true intimacy or connection?
The answer is very simple. Be in the moment.
Cool.
Every time that a man and a woman decide to have intercourse or have a sexual moment, you'll notice that the man is thinking about when is he going to come, and the woman is thinking about when is he getting off. You see? And really, that's basically it. And eventually, they come to a point where they sit there and they say to themselves, okay, this is it, this is it, this is for me, this is for me, this is for me. But in actual fact, the man is thinking about the future, the woman is thinking about the past, or the man is thinking about the past, the woman is thinking about the future. Usually it's the other way around. The man thinks about the future, the woman thinks about the past. You see? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, are you really in the moment?
Right.
Are you really here right now, in this moment, in the arms of the one that you're with, being present, fully present, knowing that your physical body, all of its experiences, all of the 4,944,922 nerve endings are actually connecting? Do you see?
Are those all one person's nerve endings or both
yes.
together?
No, that's one's.
My.
So have fun with that.
Really?
Yeah. So now, are you there? Are you feeling all of that? Are you present with all of that? Can you really, truly choose that moment of complete intimacy, of giving yourself openly and vulnerably to the other person without fear, without judgment, without guilt? Imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. That sounds good. I like that.
That would be the best orgasm you've ever had.
That sounds worth
Pursuing?
Forget about trying, just doing.
Yes. And the point is, you may not achieve that, but you can achieve a semblance of it if you allow yourself to be open and honest with yourself. Not with the other person, with yourself.
Beautiful.
That's what vulnerability is. It's not about opening yourself up and saying, okay, world, you can do anything you want to me, I can't be harmed. Of course, that's another whole show, and we can do one on that at another time, we assure you. But it's actually about saying, can you be open and honest with yourself? So open and honest that you hide nothing from yourself.
Well, I just have to say I love the energy of that. I love what that feels like when I hear you say that.
Yes. And we can assure you of this, you'd have a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. Sounds very free and wonderful. Wonders, I know that a lot of people today experience this phenomenon. I hear it all the time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm too busy. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I just don't have time. Is this overwhelm busy phenomenon something about today, this year, this decade, or have we actually decided, well, I'm going to answer my own question on some level. Yes, of course, we've chosen to experience that. But what is the root cause of overwhelm and busy? And how can we get out of that?
You've disconnected from loving yourself. It's that simple. See yourself as a cup, and that which fills the cup is love. If you're half full, the most you can ever do is half fill another cup. If you're full, the most you will ever do is fill one other cup. Try it, you'll see. We've always suggested, and we suggest to everyone, fill yourself with love until you overflow. And then let the overflow fill all the cups around you. If you're overflowing, then you are not disconnecting with yourself. You are honoring yourself. You're appreciating yourself. You are experiencing yourself. And as a result, you would give yourself the time to pause. Now, pause doesn't have to be long. It can be a breath. It can be 10 breaths. It can be a day. It depends entirely on the choice of the individual. But every individual must recognize that within movement is pause. And this is a concept that most of humanity does not understand. They see movement as a constant. They do not see it as a movement with pause. Do you think?
Because wonders if we were truly present, then we wouldn't be busy.
Well, exactly. And why, busy is anticipation of the future, isn't it?
Yes.
Projecting out forward and looking backwards. Most busy people, in fact, virtually all busy people, are not present. Do you think?
Yes, because if we're truly present, we know in that moment what's best for us to do.
No. No, you don't. You know in that moment to choose. You don't know what's best. Knowing what's best is your mind judging.
So if we're truly present, then in that moment, we can choose what would bring us joy.
You can choose, well, everything brings you joy. So it's not, you see, you're trying once again to judge this whole thing.
Dun, 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 dun,
It's not about judging any of it. It's simply saying to yourself, I'm in this moment, what do I choose? I don't like this choice. Choose again. I don't like that choice. Choose again. I like that choice. Keep choosing. Do you see the point?
Yeah, I do.
So, do you see how much your mind wanted to create that judgment in order to define what it is to just choose freely in the moment?
Yeah, I know how much my mind likes to use itself to, it thinks it's keeping me safe.
Yes.
And I can feel, yeah, I really feel it right now.
Good. Good. Then we've succeeded in assisting you.
Thank you. During our first interview, you addressed where the United States is going to be by the year 2025, and I assume that's given all the parameters that we have in this moment.
Present choices, yes.
Yes. Moving into the future, which countries will be powerful and influential?
China is going to be one of the most powerful countries for the next 200 to 300 years. Then after that, you're going to find it'll be a battle between India, the United States, and Russia again. Do you think? Don't worry about South America. Don't worry about South Africa, or about Africa. And don't worry about the rest of Europe. They're small countries. It's not to say that you're not going to have wars. It's not to say that you're not going to have dictators coming out of them. It's not going to say that you're not going to have conquerors coming out of them. But it is to say that they won't be the economic powerhouses that the United States has been for the last number of years, last few hundred years. The United States, as an economic powerhouse, its time is waning. You are on the downside of your empire. You see?
Yes.
As an empire, you are waning. And the difficulty for you is to accept that. If the United States accepted that it is, as an empire, it is waning, it would reposition itself and maintain such a presence in the world that it could, as a result of that, maintain, not an empire, but maintain such a presence in the world as to maintain its position of power. Do you think?
Yes.
It can't, because the psychology of the United States is to conquer. It only sees itself as an empire capable of conquering. It doesn't see itself as a country capable, or a society capable of choosing to bridge the coexistence of all humanity. You could be one of the truly most powerful societies to bridge all of humanity's coexistence, but you won't do it because you have such an attachment to conquer.
Yes.
Do you see?
I do.
And the beauty of the American people is that you have a history built into your Constitution, built into your own history, of independent thought and willingness to choose where others cannot. Do you see?
Yes.
But it must be transcended. It must move away from this warrior-like empire building at all costs perspective to more one of an equivalency of choosing to be the support for all of the rest of humanity.
Yes, because then the United States is like a drop.
Yes.
And it's separate.
Exactly. Presently it is. Where we're suggesting to become inclusive and not exclusive. Right now, as a country, you are exclusive.
Right.
And look at all the things you've done since the beginning of this turn of the century. Look at, because you can argue it's because of 9/11. You can argue for all that you want about all of this. Dear friends, you were doomed to be moved into that perspective because of the choices you've made. Any empire, take a look at the Roman Empire. Any empire that purports itself to be the conqueror will eventually fall.
Be conquered.
Exactly. And that's what you've done. You have created an American empire. Wonderful. Good for you. And it has its purpose. It has served its purpose. But if you really want to maintain your own influence throughout the world, you must transcend your empire mentality. Do you see?
Yes. And speaking of conquering, for people who come from a difficult background, their parents were difficult, and perhaps as they heal and change, they still experience their parents as being difficult people.
Yes.
How can they establish a relationship with the parents? How can they forgive?
By recognizing that first they must forgive themselves. There is nothing to forgive if you cannot forgive yourself. It's not about forgiving another. It's not about forgiving your parents. Look at yourself and love yourself so much that you realize that all the choices you've made were from the best choices you could make at that point in time. Quit judging the right and the wrong of your past. Look at that, and then you'll realize that really the forgiveness starts with you, and eventually there is no forgiveness necessary. And when you come to that point, then the energy between you and their parents, not necessarily you personally, but between you and the parents, changes. And then the parents have the opportunity to also shift. And then you begin to realize that the relationship will improve. It doesn't mean that it would improve necessarily to where the mind would judge improvement, but it will shift the movement and eliminate the blockages that are stopping the movement between the child and the parents. You see?
Thank you, Wonders. Wonders, what would people be surprised to learn about you?
Surprised. From an ego personality perspective, they would be surprised that we are everything that they've always loved and always feared. How's that?
Any more?
Oh, lots more. They would be mostly surprised that we are God. Not the God that you call God, but we are the essence that created all of existence.
Wonders, if you could touch someone's life, who would it be and why?
All and because.
Will you describe yourself in one word?
Can't. The best way to describe us is to say, we are.
And Wonders, what would you like listeners to take away from your Dare to Dream interview today?
if they choose anything, anything at all, choose to realize for yourselves that you yourselves are all brilliant individuals that are not yet allowing yourselves to express fully. Choose to move into a direction of loving yourself and let your brilliance manifest itself. And you will find, dear friends, that life, existence will shift dramatically with you. And we do thank you. To you all, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders. Thank you for joining us today.
Please.
Please perform all healings that are chosen.
Done.
Please relax the body to its natural state now.
And to you all, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders. I would like Renee to awake feeling completely loved now.
Whoa, that was a good session. Came out of that session, it was kind of interesting because I saw, it was almost like I could see an ocean and there was a little drop and I could see that little drop and I could see it wherever it went into the ocean. I could see it wherever it went. And then all of a sudden it got together with another drop. And then it was like two drops, but it formed one. And then it got together with 3 and 4. And then it became a little bigger drop and it was a bigger, but all the time, everywhere it went in the ocean, I could see it as this big thing or this huge thing, but it was never the ocean, because the ocean, no matter which way you looked at it, the ocean always kept getting bigger. No matter how big the drop was, the ocean was bigger. And that's it. That's what I got.